How's it going, everyone? It's Dusty Tucker. How's it going, everybody? It's Dusty Tucker. And as you can tell by the title of this video, and we'll get right into it, is it worth reloading 9mm? Okay, well, if you like to shoot 9mm like I do, this is a Glock 17 Gen 4 MOS. It's unloaded. I like to shoot 9mm. I only have the one 9mm pistol, but I like to shoot it, and I'm sick and tired of doing my low ammo training. I've been doing a lot of low ammo training, and that's basically 5 rounds in a mag. If you haven't seen the videos, I haven't posted any yet too, I don't know. But I do lots of low ammo training, and it's kind of getting tiresome. I don't mind it, I'm getting kind of used to it, but it's getting, once in a while, you know, I would like to shoot more than 5 rounds in a magazine, so that's why I loaded 1,000 9mm bullets and put them in a box. I know to some of you guys that are going to watch this video, you're going to say, oh, that's it, 1,000 rounds? I know. Some people like to go a little crazy at the range and shoot, who knows, maybe they shoot 1,000 rounds per visit or 500 rounds per visit. To me, I think that's a little excessive personally, but especially when I've ran into people that they say they go to the range and they shoot 200 to 300 rounds per range visit, and then I go and I shoot with them and they suck. So that means they're just throwing rounds down range and not really practicing or doing anything or trying to fix their aim, or they're not training, right? They're just throwing lead down the range and having fun. To me, that's a waste of time and money, but that's another whole nother topic and a whole nother video. Today, I just want to get into, is it worth loading 9mm in Canada? I should state that it's in Canada that we're talking about here, not the US. So I have written down, and I have written down everything I could think of. Well, not everything. I don't want to make this video an hour long, but it might, who knows, it might get that long. It shouldn't, but we'll see. Basically, so yeah, is it worth reloading 9mm in Canada at the moment, even with ridiculous prices of components? We'll get into that. So first, before we start, we have to think about if you already have reloading equipment or not. If you have reloading equipment, let's say you reload, I don't know, maybe you got into reloading for some of the more modern cartridges like the 6.5 Creedmoor or the 338s or whatever, or, you know, 300 Blackout or something. Let's say you already have equipment to reload. It'll be a lot cheaper for you to reload 9mm anyways. So, but if you don't have any equipment at all and you're sick of spending $30 a box at the store for ammo every time you go, when it used to be like $11 a box, like 5-6 years ago. So let's say you're sick and tired of buying ammo at the store and you want to get into reloading. I'm going to kind of cover a wide range of things, not just one direct route of this approach. So we're going to cover everything as much as I can think of, and it might be kind of scrambled and not really in order because that's the way my videos are. It's kind of all over the place. Let's say you don't have any reloading equipment at all and you want to start reloading 9mm. Okay, well, you need equipment. And for the equipment, you're going to want a press kit. You're going to want a press, definitely, and you're going to want a way to measure powder and, you know, to weigh things and to measure things and all that stuff. So there's a few options I wrote down. There's plenty out there, but I'm just going to start with the less expensive stuff. The way I started was with the Lee 50th anniversary kit, and at the time it was about $230. to buy that kit, and that kit came with everything. It came with a powder flow measure. It came with a book, a small book for data. It came with some case lube, a primer pocket cleaners, powder funnels. You can prime on the press, so you don't need a separate priming thing. It came with a loading tray and a bunch of other stuff like that. Primer things, and just it came with pretty much everything you need to start reloading. And it was about $230 some. It's gone up since then because that was about 5 or 6 years ago now. Now it's about $270. Don't buy anything on Amazon. I can't stress this enough. Reloading equipment on Amazon is absolutely stupid. Just for shits and giggles. Before I started this video, I did a little bit of research. So on Cabela's website, you can get a Lee 50th anniversary kit for $277.59 right now, and that's obviously not shipped. That's just going up and buying it in the store. On Amazon, that exact same kit is $457. Like over double the price. I can't even fathom. Like, wow, Amazon, what are you guys doing? Like, people obviously. Anyways, don't go on Amazon for anything reloading, except for, well, there's a few exceptions, but I'll talk about that later. So you need a press kit. You need some dies. If you're just gonna reload 9mm, you only need 9mm die set, and those die sets have gone up too. I remember when I bought mine brand new, it was a Lee 9mm die set, and it was about $47 or something like that, around $50. Now they're about $55 to $70, depending on which one you get. You can get the 4 die set that has a factory crimp die and or a taper crimped die and all that jazz. I just bought the 3 die set I got 2 different 9mm die sets, and I bought them both used at a gun show. Before you go to the store and purchase this stuff, if you're thinking about getting into it, maybe go to a local gun and trade show or something. There might be a guy there who is getting rid of his old equipment or maybe just wants to get out of reloading. That is a really good way to go and buy something secondhand to save some money. You got to be careful though. There are a lot of people that go to those gun shows and they gouge the hell out of whatever they're selling. I don't know why people find that enjoyable, but it's stupid. You can go to a store and buy it brand new, and this guy thinks his 40 or 50-year-old equipment is worth the price of something that you would buy brand new, and there's no way he should be selling it for a brand new price. Just stay away from those guys. Do a little bit of research before you go to a gun show so you know what stuff is worth new versus, should be used. Do a little bit of research. Don't just go there blind with $1,000 cash saying, yeah, buy the first thing you find. No, do a little bit of research. You don't want to get gouged by some of these guys. There are FUDs out there that will up their prices of everything, it seems. Okay, so you need a kit. For 9mm, you don't necessarily need to clean the brass. I know there's going to be people, you don't clean brass. No, I'm just saying you don't need to clean the brass. You can technically just take resized or just fired brass from the range. You can give them like a Dawn dish soap soaking, right? You can put all the brass in a Dawn dish soap or a little bit of Lemmy Shine if you got it, and you can just let it sit there and maybe shake it every 10 minutes or so just to kind of get all the, like the dried up sand that's inside of it or some crap, just like the loose crap that's already in it, and then just kind of strain it, put it in the oven on broil for like 10 minutes. It'll be dry, and then put it out on a towel or something and make sure it's completely dry, and then you can basically resize and reload right from that. You don't have to get a tumbler if you don't want to get one. It's not a requirement, but it's not like you're going to do some precision shooting out at 1,000 yards with a 9mm bullet, and, if you don't clean your brass, it's not going to be 1 MOA, and, yeah, there's people like that, trust me. It's weird. 9mm, typically you're shooting from like 25 yards and in, basically, right? You're not going to get sniper accuracy out of it, so you don't have to make sure your brass is completely clean. But I do it because I already have it, so you might as well just do it, right? Because brass tumblers are kind of expensive. There's a Lyman Turbo tumbler you can get for about $130. Remember, this is Canada prices, so $130 for a tumbler, and it usually comes with a little bit of media that you can, sometimes it does. If it doesn't, the media is about $25 to $30 for like basically a 4-liter milk jug size of media, and it'll last, I don't know, 5 or 6 uses, depends on how much brass you put into it. And you can also, there's tips and tricks you can use. You can use Brasso, that polish stuff. You put a couple of drips in there. Once the media starts getting, old and not doing its job as good, you can put. But over the years, I've been finding that the dry media tumblers and stuff like that, everything gets super dusty, and it's just, I went to wet tumbling, and I won't go back. Wet tumbling is the way to go. But we're just talking about the basics here. So if you don't know where to start, just start with dry media. It's a lot easier and cheaper to go. So you can get, like I said, the Lee 50th anniversary press kit for $277 at Cabela's right now. There is also an RCBS partner kit, which is perfect for pistol because it's just a little press. So the travel isn't much. It's got clearance for, you could probably load 5.56 on it, but nothing too, I wouldn't do 45-70 or any bigger calibers like that, or even like large rifle calibers. You could probably get away with it, but it's up to you. That's about $400, and it comes with a lot of stuff. Actually, it comes with a digital scale, a loading data manual book, like a little book for some data, to start you off. It comes with case lube. It comes with primer pocket cleaners, large and small, powder funnel, primer seeder. They're actually, I've never seen it before, but apparently this partner press has a primer arm on it, just like the larger presses do, which is kind of cool for people that maybe just load pistol caliber stuff. It comes with a deburring tool. It comes with a case loading block and a primer tray, and it's $400. It's a little more than the Lee 50th anniversary. So if I were you guys and you're just starting off, the 50th anniversary is the way to go because you actually get a few extra things that you don't with that RCBS partner kit, such as like a powder flow thing, which is a lot quicker to throw your powder charges. This partner press kit doesn't come with that, so that'll help speed up the process a little bit. Just do a little bit of research. I can't get too crazy into this because some people are probably itching to know if it's worth reloading 9mm. I can just tell you the answer right now. If you have reloading stuff, yes, it's worth it. If you don't, it's a little bit of money to throw down at the start, but it'll pay for itself in less than 2 years. I'll just tell you that right now. Especially if you go to the range at least twice or 3 times a month, or maybe even 1 time a month. So yeah, you need a press kit. You need a brass cleaner. You don't need it, I should say. You can get one. It's not absolutely required. You can use just dish soap in a container and agitate it enough to get all the loose crap out of it, like the dirt and the sand and loose pieces of whatever that's in it. It's enough to do the job. It's a little harder on the dies. That's why I would suggest buying maybe a used die set to start with, so you don't mar up a new one. So yeah, and then you don't have to get a tumbler, and then so the total starting cost would be about $532 to get going. So that's with a die set, a press kit, and a media tumbler. About 530 some bucks, without tax, of course, to get started. Okay, so yeah, the $532. I know before you guys freak out. Well, that's on the cheaper end. You can get Dillon presses and stuff like that are like $800. I'm not even gonna go that far because I think it's ridiculous. You don't need that. So let's get into the actual other section now. So if you already have reloading stuff, and let's say you scoop up a die set, or you borrow one, or you just buy one. I'm not going to factor the die set into it if you already have the reloading equipment. I'm just going to go on brass, primers, powder, and projectiles. Basically just the components to assemble your 9mm cartridge. So for brass, we'll talk about brass. As you can tell in my box here, I have mixed brass. There's brass, there's nickel, it's whatever. Because this is range picked up special. It's free. I didn't pay a cent for this brass. It's all just range pickup. If you go to any outdoor range, you can just go there with an ice cream pail or whatever, a bag, a bread bag, whatever, and just go and pick up 9mm brass like it's nothing. It's everywhere. Everyone just leaves their 9mm brass on the ground, except for me. I don't pick it all up, but as long as I get there, at least with what I shot, I'm whatever, good to go. So that's free. You can pay for brass if you want to. Maybe you're in a larger city where you can't find an outdoor range, so there is no way to get brass. But you could go to those shooting ranges as long as they don't gouge, which they shouldn't, but you should be able to pick up once fired 9mm brass for relatively cheap. An example would be there was Hawkline reconditioned 9mm brass, which is primed, it's cleaned, it's deprimed and resized. It's basically ready to go, but it's just basically whatever. You can get 100 of that for about $8. Or if you want to buy new brass for some, whatever, to each is their own. If you want to buy brand new brass, Starline 9mm, a bag of 100 is about $35. Now this is weird. Since when is Starline cheaper than Winchester? I don't know, but Winchester 9mm 100 bag brass, $55. I don't know. Starline's better quality. I don't know why Winchester charges so much for theirs, but I would go with either the Starline or the reconditioned stuff, or just go to a indoor shooting range and see if they have any once fired 9mm brass that you can just, because they're kind of stingy, some indoor ranges. They scoop the brass from you. Even if you bring your own, you can't pick up your brass. I don't know. I don't like indoor ranges. Anyway, but if you're stuck in that situation, just go to an indoor range and see if you can get some used brass. So that's brass. So for me, it's free. So far we're zero. We're a clean slate. Primers is a different story. Primers have gone up a lot in the past 3 years even. They used to be, I remember when they were $4.99. Yeah, they were just under $5 for 100 primers. Now the cheapest ones are $11.99, and those are Cam Pro small pistol primers, and they are available in Canada. I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna do it, because there's people out there that'll go and clean it out. I know that. I've witnessed it several times. I'm not gonna tell anybody where I'm getting these prices from. It's just, but I know they have it in stock. They got a lot in stock. So. Cam Pro small pistol primers, $11.99 per 100. Or they have CCI small pistol primers for $12.99 for 100. Or they have Federal small pistol primers for $12.99 for 100. So, I mean, it's not too bad. The Cam Pros are okay. I find that they're a little bit tight going into the primer pockets, especially for the large rifle primers. I actually have to take a minute amount of case lube and put it inside around the perimeter of the inner primer pocket to seat that primer. Otherwise, it's really hard on the press and you feel like it's going to pop off on you. I would go with CCI or Federal if you have the choice. They're better primers in my opinion, but in a pinch, Cam Pros will work. I do not recommend, if you find any S&B primers, I don't recommend those. I have a bad experience with them. If you look at a primer closely, it'll have like a kind of a round back and a little bit of a lip on the front for easy insert into brass. But if you look at the S&B primers, they're straight squares. So they have a harder time. There's no taper at all. So if you're not gentle with your press, it'll actually squish the primer, and it won't even seat in the primer pocket very well. It's kind of unfortunate, but those primers are junk. And not only will that happen, I've also had, I've had 3 or 4, I think it was 4 rounds out of 100 that didn't even go off. I had light primer strikes on 4 out of 100, and I had bought a brick. It was cheap at the time. I bought a brick of S&Bs, and the first 100 that I took out, I think I loaded 50. I didn't even load a full 100, and 4 didn't go off out of that 50. So I basically put them aside and sold them. I wanted nothing to do with them, especially if you're a competition shooter. You know what that's like. I got rid of them. Screw them. So I don't suggest getting S&B primers. At least my experience, it's been crappy. So CCI Federal or Cam Pros. Cam Pro being on the lower end. If it's $1 more for a better primer, just buy the better primer. I know, but anyways, I know that price per 1,000 will go up. But whatever. Okay, so that's primers. We'll talk about powder. There's many different options you can use for pistol powder. My favorite is Hodgdon Tight Group. I love Tight Group powder, and it's very affordable, and it's such a good powder. And it takes less powder for the same effect that other powders offer. So you're going to get more volume per bottle if you go with Tight Group. That's just my opinion again. It's also cheaper at about $43 or $44 or $54, depending on where you go. Anywhere from like $43 to $55 for a bottle. And I'll get into what I load later. I don't want to, well, whatever. I don't want to give away my data, but it's available anywhere, so it's no secret. You can go with, so Tight Group, so that's $55, we'll say, for a pound. Or you can get Hodgdon CFE pistol for $53.99. You can get HP 38 for $70, which I think is a little bit expensive. Or you can get, at this place that I looked up the price, you can get an 8-pound jug of Tight Group for $349. Which, if you divide that by 8, because 8 pounds, if you divide that by 8, that's about $43.63 a pound. So that's probably your cheapest bet. I know it's a lot of money to dump up front, but in the long run, it will be worth it, I think. I didn't buy the 8-pound jug. I bought the 4-pound jug, which was about $174 for the 4-pound jug, and I thought that was an excellent deal, so I bought 2 of them, and I have them up in my loading room, and they're probably going to last me a long time. 1 bottle of Tight Group will load me about 1,700 rounds of 9mm. So we'll talk about that later. So that's powder. There's other options of powder. I just went with Hodgdon because the website that I looked up, they had some IMR powders, but these were the cheaper powders that I'm telling you right now. Okay, so for projectiles, there's several different projectiles you can use and different prices. If you want to go with just a cheap little plinking load, let's say you want to go with a light 115 grain jacketed, whatever, or copper plated round nose, something cheap. Cam Pro offers 9mm 115 grain copper plated hollow points, in this case, 1,000 bullets, 1,000 projectiles for $117. That's cheap. I think that's really cheap. That's the cheapest one they offer. And then you can step it up to the 121 grain copper plated hollow base round nose for $120 for 1,000. Cam Pro 124 grain jacketed hollow points, For 1,000 projectiles, $122. There's so many different. You can go up to a 147 grain FMJ for 1,000 projectiles is $132. They even have 158 grain copper plated round nose flat points for $137 for 1,000. Western Munitions has hard lead cast bullets, 125 grain round nose. 500 bullets is $76. Spear has 115 grain total metal jacket, they call it. For 100 projectiles, it's $22. Nosler has 9mm 124 grain jacketed hollow points, 250 bag for $99. I think that's getting a little bit expensive, but that's me. I'm just giving you options. Or my favorite, my absolute favorite, is the homebrew cast lead. You can't go wrong with that. You absolutely cannot go wrong because it's free. All you have to do is buy a mold and the casting equipment, which is not very much. You can get a Lee bottom pour and a 9mm 6 cavity mold, and you can go to town on those. And then you'll need a few other things. You'll need either a lubricizer or a Lee sizer, and you can just tumble lube them if you wanted to. There's different options. There's a lot of videos out there on that stuff. But that would be the absolute cheapest way to go in the long run, I think, because then your brass is free and your projectiles are free. You just have to, you can use wheel weights for lead. You can use reclaimed lead at the range. That's what I use. I have lots of that stuff. That's cheap. That's really cheap. That brings the total cost way down. So those are your options. So we talked about brass, primers, powder, and bullets. So let's just talk about some store costs, some store prices in Canada. So we'll go with some cheap 115 grain FMJs. These are at Cabela's. You can get just a cardboard box with 1,000 projectiles in it for $5.99. In my opinion, you're not saving any money buying bulk because it's Cabela's. They do what they do, especially here in Canada. They like to gouge as much as they can where they can. Because they also offer the 100 round value pack, the Winchester White Box, 115 grain FMJs. The 100 round value pack is $59.99. So, I mean, you times that by 10, that's $600, right? So their 1,000 round box is $600. You're not saving anything buying bulk there, unfortunately. It's kind of stupid. But if you go on Marstar, you can find 115 grains FMJ blazers. So the problem with blazers is aluminum. Their cases are aluminum, and you'll know when it's aluminum because it's a softer, it's kind of a matte finish on them, and they don't sound like brass. They're kind of duller sounding, and you can't reload those because they don't have very good durability. They crack, and it's just not safe to reload those. So you can't reload those. However, you can get 1,000 of those FMJ blazers for $420 on Marstar, but then you got to pay shipping, and that's 1,000. Like, we're talking, that's a lot of weight. So you're going to end up paying almost $70 in shipping. Add that on to the $420. I mean, you're already kind of getting up there. You know, that's getting closer to $600. So what do you do then? That's a lot of money for 9mm, especially in Canada here. You can get 9mm 115 grain. That seems to be the thing, what companies offer is just the 115 grain. That's why lots of people reload 9mm, because it's hard to find something other than the 115 grain FMJs. Yeah, you got the Winchester. Sorry, I already said that. The 100 round value pack is $60. You can get the Winchester White Box, the 50 round boxes. They're still $32 a box. I remember that's what I used to buy 357 for, like, not even 5 years ago. Like, it's just crazy. The ammo prices are just nuts. Okay, so we'll do the overall numbers versus. Okay, so we'll do store cost versus reloaded cost now. Now we're at the tail end of this. I hope you guys find this useful. I hope I didn't miss too much. I just can't get too into it because there's just too much to cover. Okay, so we're going to go with the cheapest way possible right now. We'll start with the cheapest. Okay, so free range brass pickup. Okay, your own cast lead projectiles, Hodgdon tight group powder. Sorry, I kind of screwed up there a little bit. Your own cast bullets with Campro primers, Hodgdon tight group. You're at 17 cents a bullet. That is cheap. So $163 per 1,000 rounds. That's the cheapest absolute way that you'll go. And yes, if you don't have the equipment, there'll be extra costs on top of that. But we're just talking if you've already got the equipment, if you've already got the casting stuff, if you've already got the presses and the primers and the powder, if you have to buy all that, primers and powder. This is just literally primers and powder. So that's 17 cents a round. If you want to step it up and get some jacketed ammo or bullets, you can get free range, brass pickup. Campro small pistol primers. 100 of those is what I say, $11.99. So times that by 10, that's $120 for your primers, which is, I know, without tax. Tight group powder, $43.63 if you buy the 8-pound jug, or let's say, what was the price of the jug? I think it was $55 or something like that. So, and then let's say you want to step it up a little bit and not get the lowest grain FMJ. Let's say you want to get the 147 grain full metal jackets. 1,000 of those is $132. Okay, so that's about $295 plus tax versus $600 plus tax. So I mean, all said and done, loading 9mm, is it worth it? I think it is. If you've got the equipment, yeah, 100%. You're gonna pay about half price for what the store costs. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes they have good deals on 9mm. So I've seen Marstar ammunition go for $370 for a box, but then they're still shipping, right? Cabela's used to do good 9mm bucket deals. They used to have 1,000 round bucket deals for just over $400 back in the day, but I think those times are gone. So in my opinion, yes, it's worth loading 9mm bullets. For me, this bulk box of 1,000 costed me 25 cents a round. So it was about 260 some bucks, I think, to make 1,000 rounds for me. Some of the primers I bought were from a few years ago, so that brings the cost down. The powder was a little less, so that brought the cost down even more. Everything adds up. Like a cent here is 10 cents to 100 to $1. You know, it all adds up so fast. So, in my opinion, yes, I think it's worth loading 9mm. Especially if you like to go to the range at least even once a month. Even if you only shoot 100 rounds per range visit, I think it's worth it. I think it's totally worth it. So, yeah. There's my chart of all the stuff that I had written down. If there's guys that really want to know where I get this stuff, I'm not sure if I feel like giving away where I got it, but it's pretty close. It's pretty local. It's only about an hour drive from where I live. So this is that's all I got for you. So if you guys found something useful, that's great. If you didn't, maybe you can just listen to this in the background. Maybe you already know if it's worth your time or not to load 9mm. I think it's worth it. So until next time, keep shooting. Stay safe. We'll see you next time. Dust Decker signing out.